Because now, again, it's just all AoE spam. I remember doing Mythic Plus, and it's like, as a tank especially, I would be pulling, one pack at a time, and people are like, no, we got to pull lots of them at the time. You got to pull 2 and 3. We've got the DPS. We've got to race the timer. Blah, 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 blah. And then, of course, we end up dying because everyone's like, got to pull more. And then people get frustrated because now you've already lost enough time. It's almost already too late early in the dungeon. And it's because the speed run, it's high stress. It's not necessarily challenging. It's just stressful. And so, where am I going with all this was, I logged into the Dead Paladin, immediately started to remember why I enjoyed playing the class, but then I tried to go to what is ostensibly the majority of the in-game content, which is quote-unquote group content, and there was no group. It's, again, I could have been playing with 4 bots that just looked like other players, and I never would have known because there wasn't a word spoken. And then the irony here is that we wiped on the first boss. We wiped on the first boss because everybody was bad. As the tank, single target, and again, not a very high level. I was doing the most damage in the group because the people were somewhat incompetent, and they're probably incompetent because they've been doing dungeons for a while and doing a lot of shit wrong. But not only can you not tell anybody anything because most people aren't going to listen, but that's kind of true overall. Nobody bothers to because I'm not going to tell the Demon Hunter. It's not worth it. And we don't talk. It's again, there's no sense of community. This guy doesn't have any friends who can go, hey man, I noticed that your TPS is a little bit low. You mind if you do X, Y, and Z, you should see a pretty significant increase. I've got a Demon Hunter that's my second main, and I do really well with him. I just want to give you some pointers. And a guildmate would do that. And I remember having those conversations in guilds back during Wrath of the Lich King. I remember playing, I remember when Wrath came out and every Death Knight spec could tank, but Frost was kind of the de facto tank spec because it had AoE, and that's back when the AoE spam kind of started, and it was Howling Blast was really what made them the tank spec, was because you would Howling Blast your way into pulling aggro and everything. And I remember I was like, wait a minute. I started looking at the blood tree and realizing that there's a lot of healing aspects to that. And I decided to try blood as a main tanking spec. And everybody in my guild was like, dude, no, you can't do that. It's supposed to be Frost. But then me and a couple of the other Death Knights in the guild started hashing it out. And we figured it out. Because we started theory crafting the class amongst one another because we had this kind of social interaction that people don't have anymore. And that social interaction is important because it's not just, as I'm trying to make the point, it's not just about, do this and then do that in a dungeon raid setting. It all kind of weaves together into a, completely different way and method of playing the game and different mindset. Where when you become more reliant on other people and their input, and the game becomes, again, a massive multiplayer online experience and not a single player experience in a massive multiplayer environment, it changes the way you play the game. Again, it's being friendly and nice is something that was important because that's how you got invited back, because you needed these people, because you needed the coordination, you needed the communication, because dungeons were, I'm not going to even say more difficult, but just required that. So when you require communication, it encourages good communication. Versus now where you have no communication, and I feel like the game is being designed around the fact that they're sitting around and going, oh, we should probably make these dungeons a little more interesting, but we can't do that because that would require the players to have a level of strategy that just doesn't exist right now because, average players don't communicate. And so that's, I feel like, the game design philosophy. And again, going back to my whole kind of overarching point for all of this is, WoW is a game being made for non-gamers. I think that's how non-gamers play. Gamers want communication. Gamers want to talk to one another. Again, look at the whole push from, the gamer community for classic WoW. One of the biggest things is that kind of bringing back of the sense of community. People want to get on Discord. People want to get on, is TeamSpeak still a thing? And Vent still a thing? Whatever. People want to get on Discord and Skype. Our guild used Skype. They want to do that and talk to one another and have that communication and have that experience of, building relationships with people and strangers. That's part of what they want. Because that's what gamers want. But again, non-gamers don't want to get in there and, potentially be, told what they're doing wrong by a stranger. That doesn't sound fun. I don't want someone to come in and tell me what to do. I just want to go in there and press buttons and, lights and colors. right? And so the game has gone more that direction, again, of idle RPG clicker, where it's just you go in, press buttons, lights and colors, loot, rinse, repeat. And so it's, I left that, and I didn't even, we wiped on the first boss when I was playing my paladin, and I quit. I exited the game right there, because it like summed up every feeling that I had about the game. Because then I think this is the problem, is that there's a cascading effect with the negative aspects of WoW, where so there's the dungeons suck because they're bland and boring because nobody talks. And again, someone would say, well, do Mythics, do Mythic Plus. It requires more communication. No, they don't. I did lots of Mythic Plus in Legion, and there wasn't any communication. It wasn't needed. It was just AoE shit show. Only time people were communicated was if somebody did something really stupid and then they got yelled at. Which honestly that's a step in the right direction versus what we have now. I'd rather deal with more assholes yelling at people for being, human, because at least that's an interaction. But then the problem is you're getting, the gamer is yelling at the non-gamer, like, don't stand in the red shit, you dumbass. You're supposed to know that. How do you not know that? And the non-gamer is like, don't tell me what to do. And it's like, no, I'm going to tell you what to do because you're doing it wrong. You died, then we all die because our DPS dropped, or you're the healer, so once you die, we all die. Like, that's the mentality that's overtaken it. You can't tell me what to do. Don't tell me what to do. And it's like there's always going to be somebody who's better at this than you are. But, well, this is a game. I want to have fun. You don't have to tell me what to do. And I'm like, well, it's not fun when you lose. Unless you're a non-gamer, because then you're just looking for something to kill time. It's not about winning and losing. It's not about succeeding and achieving the goal. It's just about doing the thing until an hour has passed, and then you're going to go do something else. And again, I'm harping on this fact over and over, but I really feel like this is the issue, is that Blizzard is making games for non-gamers.